And we're going to hit you today with, what's coming up? Oh, that's right. The new year.
Yes.
2020, 2019. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Is that what they say? Back
Who the fuck said that?
My dad.
Really?
Old,
I have never heard of that in my life.
Anyway, yeah, fuck 2019. No, 2019 had its ups and downs. Had some good parts, had some bad parts. We had... but I digress.
Yes.
A new year is almost upon us. 2020, year of the rat.
Is it really the year of the rat?
That's right. Look at my picture.
Oh, I was wondering why you drew that.
I drew a pig, which is 2019, giving a gift to year of the raton.
Raton.
So 2020 is year of the rat. If I remember correctly, 2021's tiger?
Is it? That'd be cool.
No, I don't remember. Clearly I don't remember.
But what is year of the rat supposed to mean?
That is
for us that don't know that.
A great question. Well, this is all in reference to the, I guess, Chinese zodiac.
Yep.
And so let's see, year of the rat.
Tell us what you found.
You get yang energy.
Does that mean yang gang?
Yang gang? Oh wow, that'd be really interesting. Clearly. Let's see. Your fortune and your personality. The rat is the first of all zodiac animals. I did not know that. So Rattatas, eat your heart out.
Oh my god.
Who's the rat guy? The rat king. Joey. No, in our community.
Mossy?
Yes! There you go. He loves rat. Rattata.
He does.
He had like 15,000 Rattata candy before it was cool, and that was like
before it was
two
cool.
fucking years ago.
Yes. No,
Shouts to you, Mossy. Right?
Well, he that's not like his full name, of course, but no, he was one of the few instinct players I know that was like on top of all that, and I give him props. So his trainer name is Mossy Stairs.
Yep.
You come across him in Aurora. He's definitely like a really chill dude.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like the go-to Rattata guy, like no matter what. And recently, I think he changed his buddy to like, what is his buddy right now?
Is it
it is a Rattata. Okay.
Is it a Lolan?
It is Lolan Rattata.
Okay.
But
Darkness.
there was one point he changed it in like our group, like. And again, I'm not in the group nearly as active as I used to be, but I just like hopped in to see his nickname changed.
The legendary...
The infamous instinct chat that's not on Discord. But no, like I think with that, like he always stayed true to that, and that's one thing I always appreciated about him was like he had his Pokemon and he liked it, and there's always those like stats Zach.
Yeah.
And other trainers that were like, oh, he's not meta, he's not this, and really, he never gave a fuck. Like, he's like, that's my boy. And I'm going to rock it. So, thank you, Mossy Stairs.
Shouts to Mossy Stairs and your love for Rattata. This is your year. Mm-hmm. Let me read you this really cheesy shit real quick.
Read it to us.
The rat is the first of all zodiac animals. According to one myth, the Jade Emperor said the order would be decided by the order in which they arrived at his party. So the rat tricked the ox into giving him a ride. Then, just as they arrived to finish in time, the rat jumped down and landed ahead of the ox, becoming first.
Nice.
That's the history. The rat is also associated with the Earth Branch, DG, and the midnight hours. In the terms of yin and yang, the rat is yang and represents the beginning of a new day. Kind of exciting.
Okay.
In Chinese culture, which this is derived from, rats were seen as a sign of wealth and surplus. Because of their reproduction rate, married couples also prayed to them for children. Interesting. Okay. And one last bit, rats are clever, quick thinkers, successful, but content with living a quiet and peaceful life. That's words to live by, so I like that. 2020 is year of the rat, and that means we got exciting new things on the horizon. Mm-hmm. In some aspects, it's crazy to think that a whole year has just passed.
Yes.
I feel like 2019 just started recently.
But I'm glad it's over.
About a year ago. And I'm glad it's ending. Yes. Correct. But yeah, I mean, then there's a whole tirade. Our last episode, we just talked about kind of all our predictions from 2018 going into 2019. Some of our goals, I think we met most of them. Some of them we're still working on. And yeah, so let's get into it. What are your predictions, Jack, for the year 2020 of Pokemon Go? Oh, and are there anything specific? So keep in mind, 2020 is a leap year.
Okay.
Which also means it's a Summer Olympic Games year. This year, Summer Olympic Games are in Tokyo, which is where Pokemon Company and stuff.
All that good stuff is.
So I wonder how many tie-in events will be with that.
Oh.
And then
there better be a fucking fighting event.
Right? Fighting event would be dope. It's really interesting. Also, just side note, all of the I think you told me, but all of the holidays this year fall on like Fridays or the weekend.
They're like really good timelines. So like, I think there was like, obviously for those who came to Colorado for certain recreational activities, 420 is going to be a whole month long. Literally. I think like Christmas and the major holidays, I think, do fall on weekends. I gotta pull that up.
Yeah, I think they're like on Fridays. Thursdays. Well, because they're Wednesdays. This
I
year.
know. Halloween for sure is on a Saturday.
Okay, so
I know that is
Saturday.
guaranteed.
Yeah. So if Christmas is on a Wednesday this year, it'll be on a Friday next year because of the leap year.
Correct. So Friday and New Year's for 2020 will be Christmas, and that will be on a Friday.
And I bet you Thanksgiving's on a Thursday.
Yeah, and 4th of July... How would you know? 4th of July is also on a Saturday.
There you go.
So, like, everything looks pretty, like, well-balanced. There's one... Let me see. There's two Friday the 13th also.
Okay.
Yeah, 420 is actually on a Monday, but again, the whole month of April is basically 420, no matter how you write it.
Including my birthday, which is on a Friday this year.
Yeah, my birthday is also on a Friday this year. I'm telling you. Or for 2020.
It's the year of turning up.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, when it comes to this, when it comes to kind of like our little breakdown of our predictions for 2020, we're going to kind of go off of like Pokemon we're looking forward to.
Okay.
Battling, trades, raids, the Team Rocket stuff, GoFest, and then any additional things you just want to put out there into the world. Because again, we're kind of firm believers after starting this podcast that a lot of the shit we say comes true the more we fucking talk about it.
Okay.
And I know some of our listeners have definitely echoed that same sentiment. Even when it came to like Reggie Gigas for the Colossal event, someone posts up like, you guys literally talked about this months ago. We're like, yes.
True.
We did.
True.
And it's not like, again, Niantic doesn't contribute to our knowledge base. It's just we get pretty good at predictions, and our combined knowledge of the game and others who've kind of come in and out of the podcast have definitely kind of fed into increasing our knowledge base to kind of have predictions for this game.
Right on.
So in terms of Pokemon, obviously we'll get the rest of Gen 4 and 5 because they need to come out and finish up. I'm looking forward to more of the shinies variants of the legendaries coming out.
Darkrai.
Yeah.
Mythical.
One thing I did notice is they did kind of slow down on the raid days. In my personal opinion, I felt like that kind of...
Like there haven't been raid days?
Yeah, like the raid days have like... They slowed down, in my opinion, to me.
Do you think that's because they changed it to the random 1 hour raid hours on Wednesdays?
Yeah, and I'm wondering how that's kind of turning out. I would like them to get back to raid days, but kind of I would like them to have more specialty movesets.
Okay.
With that in mind, that's just something... Again, Niantic doesn't have to follow the game's mold because they're forging their own path. So I think it'd be better if they had special moves for those Pokemon to make them worthwhile and to draw players out. Because right now, a lot of their raids have been the same Pokemon, same moveset. There's no real positive to doing the research task, for example, unless you want another Pokemon that you already have probably 20 of.
Okay.
So I think giving them specialty moves, and their trial was Mewtwo. They brought Mewtwo back. It had Shadow Ball, and then it could be shiny for a bit. That was pretty cool. And there was like a handful of people that actually got that achievement, so congrats. But I think that's something they can do for 2020 is, in terms of Pokemon, have those specialty things to where they can come out. But I'm also looking forward to Gen 6. And Gen 6 Pokemon, I just need a quick refresher because, again, I've been so... What is that?
I do not know.
I've been so wrapped up in Sword and Shield that I have lost sight of everything else.
Okay.
But let me check that really quick. Gen 6.
So Gen 6 is... The games are X and Y.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember, like, the Pokedex.
Okay.
Just so I can kind of get a refresh of that.
Well, do you remember the starter? So it started off... Okay, so Gen 6, real quick, we'll get into it. But the starter started off with... What are my favorite animals, Jack?
Fox.
Right. What's my favorite Pokemon? It can be family. Vulpix, right?
Yes.
So, well, Gen 6 had a Firefox starter based off the Fennec Fox called Fennekin.
Mm-hmm.
And then it evolves later on into Delphox, which has a really cool typing, Psychic Fire. That's really exciting to me. I just hate how Delphox looks, and that's weird on my part, I guess. But
it does look pretty stupid.
I don't know.
I give it that.
Chespin, you got Chestnut is the evolution for that. That's grass fighting, I believe.
Yeah, he's grass fighting.
Grass fighting. It looks more like a Digimon, but I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Chestnut.
He's adorable.
And then you have Froakie, which everyone laughed at first, but it evolves into...
He looked mighty stupid.
Greninja.
Yeah, Greninja is a beast. So, in terms of that, I'm looking forward to Gen 6 coming on board. Yeah. And people being able to see Sylveon, which, again, I hope they do some sort of special event for, some special fairy event, to just kind of commemorate that one coming in. Also, the dinos. So you have Tyrant and Auroras. I always mispronounce. It's like Amaria. But so it's a long neck and a T-Rex are coming to town. And if you guys don't know already, I love dinosaurs so much. So I'm looking forward to them. But the other thing that this gen kind of introduces is Megas. So Megas is going to be a whole new attribute, and I think it'd be a great addition to bring to the table simply because Megas, it gives it a new form. Hopefully it could bring new moves, and it could change up the battling way more. So that's something I'm looking forward to a lot.
Okay.
So the other thing with battling itself, so one of the things I've been talking about recently in the past 2 months was adding a second fast move to make it a 4-move fighting arrangement.
I think it should be... Oh, not to cut you off. I think it should be gesture-based.
Gesture-based?
Swipes, or like you tap on one side of the screen, like you split your screen in half. Mm-hmm. The right part of the screen, so it actually makes you pay attention to where you're tapping.
Yeah.
Whatever side, that might be fast move 1, and left side might be fast move 2, or it's dependent on, like...
I kind of hope it gives it...
gestures.
Yeah. No, again, I just want there to be 4 moves. That's my main thing. I think, however, Niantic, again, they're going to have to experiment with it, but I think that would be a worthwhile endeavor to do for battling. And then also, if they do indeed bring in Megas, to introduce that to the system, that'd be really sweet too. And again, they don't have to follow the exact strict guidelines of the Pokemon game to release certain Megas. They could do it whenever the fuck they want. So the first batch only focused on the Kanto Pokemon for the most part, and they had a Mega Aerodactyl, they had Mega Venusaur, they had 2 different forms of Mewtwo, which is sweet. One of them looked really awkward. He looked like Mew, or not Mew, but Boo, Majin Buu, super slick back.
Talking about the Mewtwo's.
Yeah, and then they had Absol, which is gorgeous. Then it had Amphabulous, that thing. Blaziken is a boss by far. And yeah, there's just a lot of Pokemon that they could introduce Megas for, but they're not limited to that. But I'm really hoping Megas is in the works for Niantic.
I guarantee they are. I'm just curious of how they'll implement it. Whether it'll be you have...
Well, and see, that's why I think with the Olympics, I think that'd be a really cool introduction. Because that's think of it as an arena. and you're bringing something new to the table, I think that'd be a pretty sweet time to introduce things.
Yeah, though, I guess if we're looking at timelines, because Gen 6 won't release until towards the end of the year, and I know Olympics are kind of middle end of the year.
Yeah.
Because it's like July and August.
Yeah.
It'd be a little early for them, but they could.
I think it could probably come more like September time, I think, personally. With trades, again, just reduce the fucking cost. Oh my god. Like, there's no need for a best friend cost to have to work 90 days to get to best friend costs. I think they should really reduce it, because I'm just wondering if, based on whatever logistics they have, if trades are really still really prominent with people. And then I think with trades also, when you have events like Go Fest and Safari events, it doesn't really help the players when there's no real trade benefit for them. Yeah, you can trade someone who traveled from like England or whoever, but if you're not best friends, that's still like a mill of Stardust for a shiny. That makes zero sense. And again, Stardust is very like scarce, so why would you still charge ridiculous amounts for something that we don't really have for a Pokemon that eventually you'll release at some point, but you're just catching people who are being impatient? I just think you should just reduce the cost all the way around by like 3/4. Again, I'm always shooting for higher and hoping they meet me in the middle. But I also want them to come out with more than just lucky trades.
Okay.
I think there should be like more than just one lucky trade. I think you should be able to. The other thing with trading is the in-game messaging system.
Yes, I agree.
That is something we had talked about, I think about like 5 months ago. Like, hey, if I have a lucky friend and I can't find you, or you have like international friends, because there's a good amount of people who went on to Reddit and things of that nature and added friends to get international eggs, which is great. But when you have a best friend who you've never seen, how are you supposed to trade with them? And I think best friends should get that privilege to be able to trade internationally or anywhere in the world. You don't have to be within that 300-foot span, I think, or whatever the distance is for trades. I think if you're best friend status, you should be able to trade globally no matter what. I think that should be a given perk, because if you fucking work 90 days, I can call my friend around the world. I don't see why the fuck I can't trade them around the world. So I think that's something that they should bring to the table, and I hope they do. And maybe, again, it doesn't have to just be best friends in Niantic. Again, you can give it to anyone. So in terms of raids, again, like I talked about, giving Pokemon special moves there, what we just talked about in the last podcast was making it to where all the Pokemon that are there, if they have the potential to be shiny from the base form, I think it should be present through all the evolutions. It shouldn't be anything to where you miss out on that because you didn't catch the base form, you don't get the rest. And that should also be for the fucking wild too. Like Jinx, Magmar, Electabuzz, those fuckers should be shiny out in the wild and be able to find them. Yeah. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you have to get a shiny Magby hatching eggs, or an Alakid, or a Smoochum, or an Iggy Buff, or whatever, to try to get that. I think they should really change that up. That is also one thing I kind of left out. In terms of eggs, I definitely want them to turn the shiny rate up a bit more. Okay. Because right now, I'm glad they added more Pokemon to the egg roster, but I don't think they balanced out kind of the logistics of how frequently the other Pokemon still show up. So I'll be hatching like 7K eggs, and I don't see the babies like hardly ever. Now it's just a bunch of like other new gen Pokemon. So I kind of wish, or kind of hope, that for 2020 they give the 7K eggs more exclusivity or whatever. Like, just make it more special. Because what's the point of having your friends to get the eggs if the Pokemon there are something you just catch in the fucking wild? So I kind of hope they get back to being more exclusive. And again, it doesn't have to be like with Bonsly, for example. Never got a shiny one. Someday maybe. Mm-hmm. But like, I did the hatching event. I wasted a lot of incubators, and I know a lot of people did. And I'm just waiting for their like we've joked about to have a baby event.
Yeah.
And then the babies are just running wild, like just call it Rugrats event or something.
I want a baby event. I want to be able to catch babies in the wild, but I also want breeding. To be implemented.
You'll get to it
in general.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my things.
Because like I think that would help. Because then you already figure out like what eggs you want. And sure, some baby Pokemon might go unwanted, or like maybe they fear that random eggs that you acquire won't be as sought after, which means I don't know what that means really, because like if even if you do breeding, you still have to get the egg from a breeder or whatever, and then you have to use a fucking incubator to hatch that egg, and then walk however many steps to hatch that egg. You just control what Pokemon comes out of the egg. I don't see why that'd be such a big problem.
It's not. I don't think it would hurt anything, but no, breeding would be one thing to definitely add. And kind of going off of that, when it comes to eggs and hatching, a bigger egg space, not just 9, but bump it up to 12, whatever.
Yo, if you give me 12 eggs, though, I want another infinite incubator, or 2 more, even.
Infinite incubator should have came by every other gen. I think they should drop one. Or if you get to a certain level, they give you one. Make it an achievement to get to a level. I think it's ridiculous that you guys aren't. So, and like Justin said, with breeding, bring that in. I think that'd be sweet. It'd be interesting to see if they added natures to the game. Just to see if that could change it. Or some of the other Pokemon games, you had training opportunities to raise up stats or raise up levels. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe Pokemon, because you can do training, you could battle like your gym leads, you could battle rockets and whatever and get items, but I think it'd be cool to do things like hyper training, which is something that you see in the later gens.
Okay.
To where you could raise specific stats.
So alternatives to using Candy and Stardust to train is what you're saying?
Yes, because if they're going to make Stardust so, like, again, scarce, then they should give us other ways to help boost up our Pokemon. Yeah,
and similar to one of the big things they pushed was Adventure Sync.
Yes.
So what if you how they added the next tier for those psychopaths that walk 100K a week or whatever?
Yes.
Just like you do you, that's a lot. What if they did something like that? Like on top of your Pokemon picking up a candy, you can work towards leveling or something.
Well, and again, like we had talked about in the last podcast, if they give the option, because a lot of things give you XP instead of Stardust, if Niantic gave you the option, press pause. If Niantic gave the option to say, hey, instead of just accumulating XP, you could actually change it to just Stardust, I'd much rather just pick Stardust.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
And give us that option, because a lot of stuff, like us level 40 players, don't need any more XP. If they never raise the level and say 40 is it, then we've already hit that ceiling, but we still want to play, so give us the option to continue playing instead of just like cutting us off.
Give you something, because it just feels like a waste of resource to accumulate. And it's one thing to be like, I have 100 million XP, which Godspeed to you guys, that's insane. And I know a lot of it's in hopes that hey, they're gonna raise the level cap and it'll go to 45 or something like that. And, sure, that could still happen, and I'd very much like it, because it gives me something else to also grind for outside of just getting the perfect Pokemon or whatever. I think I really do like that idea, and I hope that's something that they do implement, is just a different way to utilize those resources, because I'm still walking however many kilometers a week. I'm still doing this. I'm still catching Pokemon. I'm still doing things that'll get you experience, but I don't need experience. And this is coming from a player that just hit 40.
Not too long ago.
I just hit 40. I'm not an XP whore. And so, ultimately, I would like to see something a little bit different implemented.
Yeah.
I would like to see, just ways to make it more in depth, a little bit more robust.
Right.
Because the base stuff is there, and that's what we talked about. Is like the base game itself is one of the better mobile gaming experiences in general.
Yeah.
And if you can build off of that and make it even better, you know, like that'd be really cool. So yeah, I don't know. Going back to, I was just gonna go back to a couple of things real quick because we talked about some of the Pokemon that are coming out this year. So the rest of Gen 5's coming out. There's a lot of Pokemon. Gen 5 was the largest gen that they added Pokemon to. It's like almost, I think it's 147 or something like that. Almost a whole 150 added.
Jesus.
And there's some really, really good Pokemon in there, like...
What?
Garbodor.
Okay.
Vanillux.
So many people I'm
Chandelure.
excited to see how many people are just distraught by all of them.
Well, they can fucking get over it because there's some great ones in there. Some of my favorites are still coming out, like Zoroark.
Oh
my god.
He's going to be beautiful.
You know, so there's a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon that are still coming out, and I think they're going to do some pretty interesting stuff with that over the course of kind of the earlier parts of this year. Because, like, the other thing... and this is still kind of fresh in my mind because there's a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon in Sword and Shield that we've been playing a lot recently, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon in there, and I love seeing them, but it's just like they're still fresh in my brain. So that's why I'm still really looking forward to something like Cofagrigus. I know Cofagrigus is in the game, but like seeing that walk around is really cool.
Yeah. Because they have the events for them, but then they took them out. So once they're gonna become like rampant, then I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. But again, like they can add different elements to the game still in terms of just Pokemon. Because like you said, they haven't released all of Gen 5 yet. But then they can add new things to make it cool. They can make the environments more engaging, like in Sword and Shield. The environments are way more dynamic than what they have been in past games, to where it's a thunderstorm, you see all the electric Pokemon there, like, in full force. You're seeing evolutions out there. So, like, any of you that play Sword and Shield, you'll know that there's certain areas you can go to in the grass and you can see the Pokemon walking around. Obviously, it's going to be quite some time before Niantic, I think, if they try to do that, they've already had, the brush ad Pokemon walking around, and they have the Pokemon present, but they don't have them wandering. That'd be kind of a cool attribute.
Moving on the map?
Yeah, if the Pokemon could just kind of, meander around, that'd be kind of cool. And again, it's just, they have the ability to do lots of things, and they're going to have to take trials to get there.
Yeah.
But it's going to be sweet. Would you have, should I continue on with the list?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to touch on that.
Touch on the Pokemon.
Because it's like the Gen 5 Pokemon. I'm curious how they're handling, because Gen 4 and Gen 5 added a ton of legendaries.
Yeah.
Curious how they're handling those in mythicals, because they kind of changed it up. You know, they randomly threw Darkrai in a raid.
Do you think maybe they might do that for the Olympics instead? Maybe have more of a legendary thing to where you have more achievements that you have to accomplish for that just to get them out and cycle through?
Maybe. I think I see more research, more special research.
That would be cool too. I'm fine with anything that gets you out of the norm.
Yeah, whether that's the Colossal event where it's kind of paid or for earlier access, or if that's just similar to the main ones like Jirachi, the Go Fest.
Yeah.
Special research. I do think the formula will be changing this year, though. I also think Go Fest won't just be in Chicago.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of the topics of Go Fest and the Safari events. I think my only hope with that, just from my experience this year with Go Fest, is that they do more of the pay to play and make it easier. Because, there's some players, I just always think of Pat, who's I don't want to have to pay in order to play this game. But I'd much rather pay $20 for a ticket to play home than pay the $400+ just for a plane ticket to fly out to some place like Chicago and then still have to pay for a hotel for 2 days. Yeah. Plus get all your baggage, plus get your stuff, plus take days off. That's that's a much more costly endeavor than $20.
I'm kind of in between there because, like, I definitely agree. I would like to be able to have the Go Fest access ticket kind of worldwide, and maybe that's $20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which would totally be worth it just based off of our experience. But I'd also like, naturally don't not do Go Fest in whatever city.
You can.
And really kind of start incentivize that. Like going to Go Fest, some of the tents and stuff were cool. Naturally, we went on a shitty weather day. So now you can't really control that year out, and I know planning that shit is really difficult.
Yeah.
But maybe incentivize it even more. You get your ticket, but maybe if you did get a ticket and you're physically at the Go Fest, you get a special box. You get a special, just a little bit extra.
Well, yeah, just like they do, and I think that's where they could take elements like they've done from Meltan and all that to if you're in the game or if you're playing in a specific area, meet up with the trainer, scan a specific code, which you can only do if you're GPS there, or some of the missions where you had to take a picture of the Pokemon at a specific location, and then you'd get something in return. I think if they did stuff like that, and again, having Pokemon special moves, higher shiny rates, because again, we weren't really blessed when we were there with shiny rates, and I don't think the Pokemon were they had issues with the lures, because I wasn't able to drop lures even though I was physically there. I was trying to lure up stops, and you can't do that anymore. And I was I literally bought lures for this event. Lures themselves weren't 3 hours long, so they kept dying, so people had to crowdfund them.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of ridiculous, but you're there, so you're willing to do what you need to. I think, because Go Fest was a great experience if they have it again, which I'm sure they will. And if it's not Chicago, hey, Denver, come on, bring it here. Or say it goes to Salt Lake City, or say it goes to a nearby state. That'd be kind of a cool trip. Just go out there, and I know people would be down for it. But
I'll see them doing somewhere like Austin.
That would be cool too, because then you get and I think that's where Niantic, I think, could then work with some more of the entities locally, to see what's there. Reach out to their Discords, reach out to whoever's there, because Niantic is always asking for, show us your community, show us this. If we're showing you so much, why aren't you engaging with us in terms of getting these events set? I think that's what they could do to take it a step further, to be hey, we're going to be hitting up Austin, let's hit up the major branches that have contacted us and see what would be good, see what could be helped out in terms of giving us, hey, tell us some good food locations, tell us this, tell us about food trucks.
Yeah,
and help with that research endeavor.
I think
to make it cool.
I think they're already kind of on that track though, in the sense of they asked us to put together show off your city, because they want to host events in different cities outside of Chicago or whatever. We had our first North American Safari Zone outside of Go Fest in Montreal. A little far from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But cool for Canadians and Quebecois, and cool for people that could go there. I would love to see something more West Coast. I would love Seattle or maybe not San Fran, but somewhere in California. San Diego would be dope. And then Texas is huge in terms of convention cities. A lot of conventions, a lot of major tours, musical tours. Mm-hmm. If they're not going to Cali or New York, they're going to Texas.
Yeah.
It's a huge hub for that kind of stuff. There's a lot of players in a lot of different communities. And I think when they reached out and they're like, hey, submit this, I think they're trying to work with those communities towards getting that done. Now, admittedly, we kind of took a hands-off approach towards that because so many people went the larger Pokemon Go Colorado group here were at first super gung-ho about it, and I don't think anything really came of that, at least as far as I saw.
Yeah, and I didn't hear...
which is unfortunate because I feel like we could have, but I legitimately, I remember piping up and I was like, hey, we should do maybe Wash Park, but maybe City Park might be better or whatever. Either way, maybe we should try to do something like that, and then a lot of people were trying to take ownership of it, and they're like, I'm going to do it, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, you do it.
Yeah.
And I never saw really anything come of that because I feel like we could have done something really cool with that. So
yeah,
hopefully maybe they submitted something and they got it done. But if they didn't, that's...
Do you think maybe this year, if they open it up again, we would maybe put it in a package?
Yeah, for sure. If they ask for that again, there's no way I don't. So, especially considering I think we're getting better and better at what we do. Community-wise, our tournaments are going pretty good. We're going to start doing more with that, like having streaming set up a little bit more, whatchamacallit, stable connections, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for all that. But anyway,
that'd be sweet.
I'm totally ready. I could, like I said, I could totally see just like Go Fest. Like Chicago's a great city, and you could see it there. But I definitely also see it in like I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling like probably like Austin somewhere.
Austin would be cool.
Austin, or
then we could go visit Corey.
We could, or we could still just go to Austin anyway. It's a fun city.
True.
San Antonio's dope. Or it could be San Antonio. I'm just trying to imagine what areas it would. Yeah. So that being the case, I to your point, at the very beginning though, I do agree that there should be an opportunity to be able to do it wherever. That way, like, yeah, it takes away kind of the bragging rights of, I get to go to Go Fest with my buddies and it's a fun time. You could still do that. Please, by all means, do that. But some of those players that, like, live out in Lyman, Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like,
or Deer Trail.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't have the time, effort, maybe money to travel and do all that, but I still want to experience a little bit of Go Fest.
Yeah, and maybe that's where they could do it more region locked. So say, hey, we know you're a player here in the States. We're going to have this ticket available for you internationally if you want it, or something like that. But then it wouldn't, like, people who are there, they're like, just buy a ticket, you can come, you live in that country, or something like that. I don't know how they would work out that, but I think there's options, because you have players like that aren't as mobile. For example, like, there's some, like, folks that are not physically enabled to go out, or like we had some of those players like at Children's Hospital, where some of the players again volunteered to do raid days for them and would like, hey, I'll come in if everything gets approval, I'll take your phone, I'll do some raids for you, and I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
I kind of wish those players, because again, big diversity of players, have the option to go and play and do things like that. And I think having one of those tickets similar to Colossal, hopefully they got a good amount of data from that event to say, hey, we had this many players play, this is kind of feedback where people were like, yeah, it was a cool event, but it went quick, or hey, I thought I was going to get a unique Pokemon, there was nothing. And that they take those feedback, like the constructive criticism, because obviously there's going to be people who are like, this fucking sucks and I hate this. And again, people are always going to voice their negative opinions, but I think constructive criticism goes a lot further to help Niantic figure out what they need.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that'd be cool. So that's
for kind of Go Fest and events in general, really.
Yeah. In terms of other stuff that just hasn't come to the game yet, so like we talked about in terms of Mega, bringing that into play. One of the other things I would kind of hope for, like you had mentioned, was like the photos. So the AR experience, making that something where, because you had mentioned like a few months back, like they're working on technology to where you could place a Pokemon and they can actually engage with the environment.
Yeah.
You were describing Pikachu hiding underneath tables and running between things and knowing the depths of like an environment from a snapshot and then being able to engage with it. So that would be one thing I think that'd be sweet. Breeding is another. Breeding hasn't come to the game yet. I think it'd be really cool. Just again to like, you can get more candies that way. It helps people who want to hatch eggs, maybe people who want more incentive to walk, knowing that they're going to get the Pokemon they want because their breeding might draw more people to go walk.
And then you wouldn't have to fuck with shiny rates. Like, you can keep them still hard to find, but if you can legitimately just like, if I can sit there and I can breed and hatch, I'm trying to think of a shiny that I'm really chasing. Let's just say Alolan Vulpix, just because I want more, even though I have
they're rare.
quite a few. The shinies. I can breed, a Ninetales and a Ditto, or whatever, and just get a whole bunch of Alolan Vulpix eggs. And yeah, sure, the rates are still pretty high, or rare rather. But I know that I'm hatching Vulpix eggs. I'm not getting super disappointed that I hatched another Alolan Meowth.
Yeah.
Because that's frustrating. It adds to the frustration in the sense of I collected 9 7K eggs in hopes that I can get that Alolan Vulpix. Does that take away from I guess the coolness factor or the rarity factor? Maybe, but at the same time, it gets me closer to a Pokemon I absolutely want, and I don't run the risk of quitting because I tried 150 times and didn't get it. Something like that. I think it would give me another layer of something to strive for.
Exactly.
And I think it'd be a welcome addition. I could see it going in a number of ways. Almost like you just pop it up on your app and you're just like, hey, Professor Willow or whatever reading center, drop off 2 Pokemon, and when it's in the daycare or whatever you want to call it, maybe it slowly gains XP. So you don't just leave it in there fully. I'm not sure exactly how that happens or what the details of that would be, but I could definitely see a system like that working. Yeah. And working in everyone's favor. Because there are people that love certain Pokemon. Maybe they do want baby Grimmers.
If I can get fucking Bonsley, dude.
Yeah, that's
I
what
would
I'm saying.
try to get him really hard, and then that'd also be beautiful. It would also complement trading, because if you're able to trade an international friend or whoever and got a Zangoose, then you could breed your international Pokemon to get a potential shiny that you wouldn't have had access to. Or I think it'd open up the door more for other players to then the Tropius I got the day one trading started. Yeah. I could then breed that so that if I'm not in Africa or in Spain, I can just trade someone an Aurora caught or Aurora hatched Tropius and be like, here you go. Yeah. And Jack breeds those things all the time. And I'm like, yeet. And you do that, and I think that would be really cool.
I know this is on our wish list, but I'll go so far as to say they will implement a form of breeding in 2020.
Some of the other things, just because you had talked about, I should kind of deem it as more of what would you call it?
Can't reach mine, baby.
I know, it's so bad. I'd say kind of the trainer input or trainer interactions with the game. Okay. So searchability is when it comes to trainers. If you could have search options to look for trainers that need a gift from you. Okay. To be able to send it. To be able to send or open more than just 10, 20 gifts a day would be fucking great. And I think that should go based on a level basis. So if you're level 40, you should be able to open 40 fucking gifts. Okay. Something of that nature. Make it worthwhile. I think the level system should be rewarded for your dedication to the game.
Especially because 40 is not a simple task.
It's not.
Even with all the changes they've made to XP and everything. That's why I shouts all the level 40s in year 1, because that's insane. Even with all of the easeability of getting XP nowadays, because getting the 30s is like a breeze, but getting the 40 is still a fucking slog. So
yeah, I was getting Chris's account up to getting it. I finally got to 38. Okay, but getting it to 40, I'm like, whew, it's gonna be a lot of raids, a lot of catching. But again, there should be some sort of award for getting to 40. And there should be some sort of perk. And again, if they decide to raise a level cap, there was jokes about the experience equivalents. Mm-hmm. So it'd say if you're 200 or 100,000 past this, you're level 41, and they broke it up to get to level 50. Yeah. And they're additional awards you get. So then when they finally released that floodgate, they were joking, but they were you get a shiny stone, so it increases your chances of getting shiny. If they actually implemented something like that, hey, you got to level 40 at this stage. Okay. There should be some sort of perk for that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I wouldn't mind. I definitely think or agree that they should reward levels in the game.
Yeah.
Getting to that level, again, is no small feat. You just reminded me of Shiny Stone, which is something I would like to see implemented, but I still think it should be similar to what they do in the main RPG games, which is once you finish the dex, you get a Shiny Stone.
Yeah.
It makes it still difficult to get, and it really only increases your odds by like 5% or something.
But
like
which
that.
dex?
I'm talking about whatever the available dex is.
Oh, so if you have the most current dex, you should be able to get
to make it difficult. But then again, that's hard because they keep adding the new dexes, or whatever.
Yeah.
That might be difficult. So maybe not quite like that, but I wouldn't mind it if it was a little bit
or
more difficult.
If they had to complement the medals.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, you've achieved these things already.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got gold on XYZ. Make the medals something to get those things.
Yes, similar to the type medals. Like
yes.
You caught this many dragons. Dragons are a little bit easier to catch from this point on.
Yes.
Same thing. You got this many Kanto Pokemon. Now all Kanto Pokemon that are available shiny, which should be all of them, you can now catch. It's a higher frequency of that. And same thing with Johto.
So if they did something like that and had a shiny medal to say, hey, we've caught over... Because right now...
50 shinies or something.
Oh no, like, I want it to be like rocket levels. So like right now, rocket to get to like the top rocket beating the grunts is 1,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So to me, I think if you caught 1,000 shinies, you should qualify to get a shiny stone. That way it makes community events even more advantageous to participate in if you are hunting for shinies. Because they're already prominent. So if you got 10 shinies a pop each time you're playing, or like some people are getting like 10 to 15, okay, it's still going to take you time. You still have the wild, you still have hatching. But if you got 1,000, damn. Like,
dude, you're doing something if you have 1,000 shinies, though, for real.
Well, okay, maybe 500 then, because that's what I think the purifying range is like 500.
That's what I'm thinking, 500.
So, okay, dial it back. 500. If they had that and you caught 500 shinies, you get a shiny stone.
Okay.
Then it increases your rate even more, because clearly you're looking for that. You are on a prowl. You are Soprano out there getting shinies in the cold and just going ham, or you're Brian Huber out there selling your soul to the devil to get shinies. Like, you are doing more than what's necessary, and you should be applauded for it.
I think so. I think a shiny medal would be really cool. I think it also, again, for people that care about medals or they just want something to help track what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful. That'd be really cool. I think they should implement it.
But, like, the medal perks...
Yeah.
But the medal perks, I think that would be something great to see, and I just think of Teresa and Dan, like, for gymming. If you were a heavy hitter in gyms, maybe get more coins when you get your stuff back.
Yeah.
If you've held the gym for a certain amount, that also increases your coin rate coming out.
Yeah.
Make it worthwhile for it, because I think that's the whole point of gymming, is to get coins. You have dominance, sure. Maybe you get more poses for your character. Maybe your Pokemon are faster. Maybe they have better loyalty. I don't know. Okay. But the medal should have more correspondence, because there's a lot of things since we began the game, or since we started the game, we've seen things implemented and taken up. Like, day one homies, remember when you used to catch a Pokemon and it'd show you the GPS coordinate on a map of where you caught it? That was really cool. And then they took that out. And that actually made me sad, because then I would think it's like the Pokemon game. I can go to a nest and I can find it there again. But then, 1 month into it, they brought a nest rotation and they fucking threw it all off. And you're like, no! And you're just super distraught.
Bitch, you thought.
I know. They're like, you thought you had the system down. We changed the game. And you're like, no!
Yeah.
But, like, stuff like that with medals, they're still there. They're still acquiring, and they can bring in more medals to do stuff, but I think the medal should come with more perks. Like you said, you get a gold for dragon, you can catch dragon Pokemon easier. If you get a gold in training a gym up, why aren't you getting more coins for that? Why aren't you getting more benefits? Or if you have level 40 and you've got past X tiers of experience, why don't those come with Stardust rewards? Like, there should be something to applaud those additional achievements, because you get them in any other video game for getting medals, there's achievements to be unlocked. And that should give you more perks. And I think Niantic is forgetting about those things. And that's something I'd like to see more of. Of just them engaging those achievements and giving players more for it. Because, again, I want to expect, and I remember back in the day with, like, the kid accounts, I'm pretty sure after kids learn that they can't trade, a lot of kids no longer claim to be kids.
Right.
I remember Noel, he was so upset for his son, and his son was upset too. Like, I can't trade you guys. I can't see these gems. And it's like, nah, kid, because you're a kid. But he couldn't trade. Yeah, he had higher shiny rates, but what's the point of having shinies if you can't share to some of these people? Which, to me, I was like, that kind of sucks, you know? You can't engage, you can't do stuff, you can't change up your stuff. And then recently I've been hearing about other kind of just misfortunes of other players who were dedicated to the game, and then they encounter options, and some of the user feedback from Niantic's been really shoddy, and they just gave up altogether. Like, people who forget their passwords. There's no ways to recover accounts, and Niantic isn't really the most keen on it. So I've known
there's
plenty of
support.
people having to redo it, and it would suck if you had to redo, and maybe that's another just out of game but improvement to be made that I would want to see in 2020 is better recovery of lost games, or like...
Well, yeah, because people do come back later and then can't figure it out.
Yeah.
They need better support in general. I'll say that. Like, they're pretty good at implementing new things and listening overall, but when it comes to, like, ticket support or people getting banned for no reason, like, how many legit players have you seen get banned?
Quite a few. I remember some people, like, whose phones, like Jay's phone back in the day, that have GPS drift.
Yeah.
And there's people whose phone would GPS drift, and they were getting banned. And I'm like, they're not even actually playing. Their characters literally.
They're trying to.
But the character's moonwalking.
Yeah.
Down 5 blocks, and they're just trying to get a fucking signal. And then they're getting banned. And then you had other players who, like, people are just getting banned for like weird reasons. And you had more like of those gym takers who weren't getting banned, and then players like Dan and Teresa are reporting them, and then there's nothing coming of it.
Yeah, when you submit support tickets, it's like a crapshoot. Sometimes you might get helped. Most of the time, it feels like they're just like, just wait out your ban.
That's cool.
You know, blah 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 blah. So yeah, I could see that. I could see better support and better things because players inevitably will probably want to come back, and a lot of people will drop off, but new players will want to start playing. And you know, they might have played 2 years ago, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just now getting back into it. What do I do? This is overwhelming, etc."
Yeah,
I think that could be worked on.
Yeah, and and then the other thing that could be like kind of a trainer menu thing would be, again, having the in-game messaging. It could be stuff like set messages, so that way you don't have players sending inappropriate messages. It might be like, "Hey, we have a trade," or something like that, and you get like an X amount of like messages you could send. So if you have a lucky trade, that option will appear to contact said person to say, "Hey, let's set up a trade. When can you meet?" or whatever. But again, because you're playing with other adults, it's gonna have limitations. Like, you can send one notification a day of like, "Hey, we have a trade. Can we do it today?" ? And then go from there.
I would very much like to see that. I just don't see how, because the biggest issue is not adults, because that's a given.
But again, if they give like the global trade, like if you had best friend and you could trade anywhere, then it's like, "Hey, are you available to trade now?" And then they could like give a time, and you just do it then.
Yeah, I think that should be definitely implemented. I don't see why they don't, like, at least ultra friend, but mainly best friend, to be able to trade wherever. And
I think of it also from like a safety standpoint too.
Definitely more the safety aspect,
like, because you have
unfair advantage.
Yeah, you don't want to. I think of it as that because like there's been incidents where like people got mugged and things. Like our buddy, a couple months back, was fucking stabbed at AMC. And there's incidences where, "Hey, I can meet with you, but if circumstances are kind of off, or you're a trainer I've never met, but we've been friends this long and we got to that status, out of comfort, it'd be great to be like, hey, I can trade you right now. Is your game open? My game open? Let's trade.
Well, think about all the friends. So I have a lot of friends that we met at Go Fest. And they live in like St. Louis and a couple of other like random cities across the country. And we're best friends. Now, I haven't gotten lucky trade with them, but if I ever did, it's just like, cool.
Yeah, I recently deleted some of mine. I was like, I'm lucky friends, but I can't contact you on Discord. Yeah. There's no way I can reach you because they're like in fucking, I think they were in Germany.
Okay. One
of them, and then another one was in Thailand. And I'm like, there's no time soon I will be seeing you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how the hell I'm gonna trade you.
I think that would solve a lot of issues. If you did that, then I could see maybe an in-game message of just like, hey, we should trade.
Just like the battling system. You can send an invite to anyone around the world.
Yeah.
Who's your friend who has that level open? Because there's some people it's like, you're not a high enough friend yet to trade.
Yeah, it's ultra
or to battle.
Or best.
So, to me, with trades, it should be the same thing. If you get that, I can send a message to you, like, can you trade today? And then have like the in-trade thing to maybe they can see what Pokemon you're willing to trade, just like they do now. And they show like, is this what you want to do right now? Yep, and you set it. Or it could be like the gaming system where you could like, if you guys haven't played the other gens, there was a thing called global trading system where like basically what you can do is you put a Pokemon into a box and say if someone wants to trade me, it'll be ready for you. This is what I'm looking for in exchange.
Yeah.
And maybe you can do that with your best friend or whatever. Be like, this is a Pokemon I want. So like, here's the ones I'm looking for, and select it. And then they could come back if that's what they're looking for and trade you. There could be some sort of coordination there.
I think it would. Yeah, I could see that. I think it would. This is to a point that I was going to talk about earlier, but it would probably gunk up the servers. But I want to see Wonder Trade.
Wonder Trade
surprise trade.
Surprise trade would be sweet.
Oh wow! He uses like interest surprise trade portal, and you're just like trade. You just like send like whatever random Pokemon, like a Scyther or a extra shiny, that you don't feel like trading anybody here, and you just want to see what you get, and you get like something silly.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun. I think it's something they could implement and would help. And maybe like if you do a certain trade, you could be like, oh, you can add that person as your friend, and then later on you can, when they enact global trading.
In addition to that, just increasing the friend cap.
Friend cap, okay.
I think that'd be nice.
See that for
and I think, yeah, that, and also just changing the views, changing the format that you can view all your friends. If you could just sort it, so just show up, be like, hey, here's your friends list, and it'll say friends list. Then say, what do you want to see? And you just sort it from there. Like, do you want to see all? Do you want to see friends that need gifts? That way it doesn't have to load everything at once. Because right now when you scroll through, I've had my game on my older phone shut down.
Yeah.
Because I'm scrolling through 200 friends. And again, I'm not trying to see everyone. I'm just trying to reach one particular person. I forgot how to spell their name. But I know it's somewhere in this alphabet range. So I'm like scrolling through and I'm just trying to check gifts. Or I just want to open gifts. If I could say open, like set a priority to be like, hey, open up these people's gifts every day. People in my priority list get that, and then it says you got 5 extra gifts. Who do you want to open? And you could set people. That would be cool. Or just saying, hey, these are my Aurora friends. These are my international friends. These are my battle friends. Because I've actually, like Dan and them were telling me how they have friends in other countries simply because they're in their same battling tournament tiers.
Yeah, because that's a big thing.
And I know they have like nickname, but even then, like the searchability in the game is just super basic. It's bare bones. Like if I search GL, it should be like Word document. Search everywhere where GL is, because GL is Great League. I use initials. So if I put GL in a Pokemon's name, it should be able to pull GL anywhere, but it only looks in the first 2 letters.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, why is our search system so fucking basic? They came up with a assortment of searching shortcut phrases like 4-star means you get to search 100%. 3-star is like, what, 80 something and above. But like, they should adjust it to where you could just type in, or like they have at whatever, which lets you search a move. But like, there are certain dynamics I wish the search options would give you, and I wish they'd have that for the friends as well. So you can search like, yeah, I'm looking for Colorado, and it pulls up everyone who's Colorado registered or something.
I guess I could see that. The biggest issue I come to terms with is like, I think you're probably an outlier in that sense.
I know.
Not that many people have 200 plus friends.
I know.
I'm
just social.
Not many people struggle with going through their friends list, seeing who needs gifts or who you can open gifts from. But it would be nice, just an overall, every opportunity to upgrade the UI and search features and things like that in the game will help keep it fresh, help keep it on top, make it really, like I said, a more robust, better experience. So, that being said, what are your personal goals for 2020 for Pokemon Go and or the community?
For 2020, I definitely want Aurora Masters to, again, I think get back in terms of leading Denver's thing. So I think getting some of the other communities to basically get their shit together and encourage others to maybe start their own like leading groups in those areas so we could all engage with each other. Because I think a lot of the original like trailblazers, I'll say.
Okay.
So there's like Vader's Blade, there's like a lot of other people who were there from the beginning. I don't hear from those players too much, but again, I wasn't engaging them. And I think it'd be cool for some of the newer gens to start coming out and be engaging and seeing what could be done. Because like Aurora, we still do community service, and I hear a lot of other areas completely just faded out. Like, people still get together to raid, and people still get together to do some trading every now and then, but the community service aspect has fallen off the radar for a lot of people. And it was because I think they put all the motivation, all the drive to do it into a few select people, and then encourage the community to do it. And I think that's kind of where it falls off, is if the community kind of falls... If the weeds fall, then the community falls with it, and I don't think that should be the case. Like, I think the community itself should be driving it more, like, if there's something giving back. And we're seeing that in our community, like, a lot more people are wanting to volunteer and help out.
Yeah.
And I wish I wish the same sentiment was in other, like, areas, like Littleton or in, I think Southwinds is still pretty active, but, like, Glendale and things of that nature, like, players... We hear from other trainers who come to our tournaments of like, yeah, they do tournaments, but then they're the only group that's doing something in the area. And everyone else is just like, you don't see them anymore. And I'm like, I think it takes a community to make it great. So I'd like to see the other communities kind of stepping up. Mm-hmm. For us, I think it'd be great for us to go to more conventions and be prepared to like have tables at conventions. I think Herb want to start that LLC, so I think it'd be really cool to get that off the ground.
Yeah.
Still, definitely want to do like a Lure Luau again, because I think it was a really great turnout. And I think getting more of the Facebook communities in there would be a goal.
Okay.
Going to Community Day would be great. That's not like my top thing, but I'm like, it'd be cool to go.
To Go Fest?
To Go Fest.
You said Community Day.
Oh, sorry. If they had more kind of Go Fest-esque things, like not just in Chicago, that'd be great too. For Aurora Masters ourselves, I think I'd like to see us being able to host tournaments that are, again, get actual recognition, that we're not depending on Sylph League to always make something worthy of like the tournament credit, but like that their system kind of evolves to where we can host our own, and as long as we meet the general tournament guidelines, whatever they have, that we can host tournaments that are worthy of it.
We can. It's just it depends, because the biggest draw is a lot of people like the ranking system and everything through Self League.
Yeah.
So you can dick measure and really kind of look at, and you can get badges and shit like that on your Self League card, which people care less about, but they have it to where you can set your own tournaments, and they're trying to implement more things to Self League's app in terms of like you can do like team battles and different tournament
I'm
styles.
not doubting that in the slightest. That's what I want to see more of, is just like them giving us the opportunity, something that would count toward the ranking system, is something that we could create for our own communities.
That's just on us.
Yeah.
Like they literally give us the tools for that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And that's what I would like to see more of us doing, is some stuff like that, but again, making it to where the other communities could see it and be like, oh, this is the Aurora Cup. We're going to do XYZ, like we talked about, having the leads be gym leaders, and you battle us, and you can like go up through that process. I think would be cool to actually do. Yeah, personally, I think kind of looking at what it was saying for the year of the rat was just like there's going to be a lot of strife and getting organized, and especially in terms of wellness. So personally, I think that's going to just be my whole focus. Like, some of you will see me in this upcoming community day. But yeah, I chopped my hair. 16 inches gone.
Yeah.
And...
Did you just use your dick to measure that?
That would be... I think I'd die if my dick was 16 inches long. Fair. That would not be good for anyone.
That's what I would have used. Jesus.
It's just one of those things where I think change is good, especially when it's change that you can control and you're comfortable with it. 2020, want to kind of start that fresh, but again, I didn't wait till 2020 to do it. You can make that change anytime.
That's right.
So definitely, if you're motivated to do it, start it today. There's no point in waiting. That's kind of been one of the things I took from this year is you're not given time. So use it when you have it, because you don't know what can happen. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Procrastination is bad. It's easy to do because it's really easy to just be like, "Oh, that's a problem for future me. I'll take care of it later."
Yeah,
but
I don't know how many times I've thanked past Jack for getting shit done. Like seriously, it sounds like a joke, but like I'll sit there at home and there may be like a gift I'm like, or a birthday I forgot, and then I see like a note in my phone like, check this, and it's already ready. Or like paperwork I didn't get done, or I thought I didn't get done. I look into it and it's like, oh, you got that done 5 months ago, and I'm like, whew, thank God. Maybe I just need to get better about writing notes to my future self of like, hey, this is done, and leave like a checklist for me. But like, handle it when it's fresh in your mind, I think is like the best thing to do. Not waiting for someone else to do it. So that's kind of a personal goal, and with that, like with the podcasts, I'd like to make sure we stay consistent with it. We have all of our access stuff done. We figured out our posting abilities and all that stuff. Okay. I think my goal for the podcast would be eventually to get a video.
Okay, that's a good one. So my goals, I'll start with podcasts with after 8 hours. Video support would be fun.
Yes.
I'd also like to try a live stream once or twice. What about
a soundboard?
Well, I'll get a soundboard too. That's a given. Because no one wants to hear me all day. So we'll get a soundboard and video definitely. But on the other side, I want to start getting back into guests.
It's been a while.
That's partially because scheduling is difficult, especially as adults or children like myself. But it's something we can do, and I think we can do better at. So we're going to do that. Personal goals, I'm with you right there in terms of like, I think New Year's resolutions are absolute bullshit.
I love them though.
No. You can go ahead, make
still resolutions. Do whatever you need to do.
Make resolutions to better yourself. That's the important thing. But you don't have to wait until the 1st of January to start.
Exactly.
That's what I mean by New Year's resolutions as opposed to resolutions. Because every day is an opportunity to be better. Be a better you, and that's and that's hard. I know it's really difficult. Some days are just like you don't have the motivation to do anything. Other days, you keep getting kicked in the nuts or slapped in the face or whatever, and like you're just like, why is this happening type deal.
Some days you might just be completely sad and you don't want to move. Like,
like
we can relate.
That is to be human. So like, that's unfortunate. And I hope the best for anybody. If you guys need help, feel free to reach out. But ultimately, like I said, you have an opportunity to make every day count, make every day something new, learn something new every day. I learn something new every day, whether it's something menial like corkscrew penises for ducks, or if it's something important like a new exterior cladding system for glazing or whatnot. It's all, it's up and down. My mind's open to a lot of things, so. Big goals there with the podcast and in general, my personal goals. Again, kind of the wellness. I'm still working on my health. I'm not exactly the healthiest person in the world, and I probably will never be, but I can work on being healthier. I'm excited for all the things that are coming to Pokemon Go. I think 2020 is going to be a big year for Pokemon Go. I think there will be a lot of changes.
It's the vision.
The vision. It really is. There'll be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of tie-ins with various things. So I'm excited for all the new Pokemon. I'm excited for more systems to be implemented. Breeding will be huge. I think battling will evolve even more.
Megas.
The Megas, when they come into the game, I'm curious how they'll do it, whether it's going to be you get 1 Mega per line, or if it's just an in-battle thing, you hit a Mega button. Who knows? But Megas will come, I guarantee it, because it's one of people's favorite things in all of Pokemon in general.
Don't you need like a stone for that?
Yeah, you need a Mega Stone.
I wonder how they'll give that.
Probably obnoxiously through.
I want it to be very similar to like how you find Giovanni, like having to do like many quests.
Yeah.
If it's something like that, I think that'd make it worth it.
And like you just get like the idea is you do a quest and you get closer to that Pokemon. So make this Pokemon your buddy, and then you have to go do stuff. They implement the AR
If you could
stuff.
choose which one gets Mega.
Well, and then you get to implement like you do all the AR stuff because they're adding that new thing to where you can interact with your Pokemon. You can play with them kind of like in the games.
Yeah.
Like throw a ball or.
Would you ever want just random sidebar? Uh-huh. Would you want it to be potentially where they make it to where you don't have to just catch the CP level, that maybe they'll make it adjustable to where like your max level, say like those beginning players that maxed out Pokemon or have legacy moves, but the Pokemon are way too overpowered for like a Great League, that you could select the Pokemon and it would downgrade it to be
kind of like so similar like what they do like Pokemon Stadium, where you can go in with level 50 Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you would adjust all your Pokemon as well, but the stats are there. They would just adjust it back.
The me that has a lot of powerful Pokemon with legacy moves that aren't good for Great League says yes. But the me that understands that takes some of the challenge out in terms of like I have to shoot for a Pokemon that makes Great League so interesting says no.
True. Okay.
So I'm curious though. I'm curious to see how the tournament circuit changes this year. There's going to be a lot of tournaments in general, whether it's Sylph League or our own, which we'll do. We're definitely going to do another Luau / barbecue of some sort. We're going to be engaging more in the community because that's what I want. I want Aurora Masters to come out on top again, or bottom if that's your preference. But ultimately, I want. We'll be known. We will be known, and we're going to do some really great shit in the community, and I'm excited for that because we have a really good community. And we have good opportunities, and this game helps kind of be glue that holds us all together. But we can, really polish that up, make it really nice and shiny.
Also kind of excited to see who else kind of steps up. But I think maybe that's where we could talk with our fellow leads and maybe give opportunities for people to advance in the leadership roles.
Yeah.
And see what can be done.
True. And I'm also looking forward to more off-kilter events like happy hours. Whether that's at a side Heroes or we go try out other bars. We do bar crawl, karaoke night / rock band night, shit like that. Like, take this community to the next level.
Upgrade, yeah.
Upgrade complete. Shit like that. And then I also look forward to traveling a lot.
Yes.
Whether that's Japan or even within the United States. I want to try to take more cheap weekend trips too.
That'd be sweet.
And really kind of start exploring a lot more things. So those are my major goals for 2020 outside of
Pokemon?
Peace. Living peacefully. Finding my own peace.
Mm.
Yeah, Pokemon, and then
I still need to sit down and do like
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of. That's one thing.
My
definitely.
love of Star Wars is
like
huge.
2020. I want to make sure, and again, starting it now. Like I'm already getting my office situated, so I have like my workspace. I'm getting like my craft space situated because I miss doing my cosplays. Going to conventions, going to different things, visiting folks, but also just getting kind of stuff more in check, I think is going to be my goal. Because with like my job, I want to make sure like my team is ready.
Mm-hmm.
I hate being unprepared when I have the time to get prepared.
I feel that.
So I want to make sure my team is ready. So when I take vacation, I take this, I have no worry my team has under control. And they've been stellar as of now, and I know that they can kick ass. And as I get more teammates, I want them to understand it, and I want like coworkers to understand that too. Of like, oh, Jack's gone? Oh no. Jack shit's taken care of. And I want that to kind of be on all fronts. Home, work, financial, like I want everything to be confirmed to where there's not a shadow of a doubt that stuff is organized. Yeah. So that's kind of my personal goal with that.
Perfect. Well,
I know I'm interested to hear if others have goals and other community leaders or others who want to get more involved. Definitely speak up. You could always message us on Discord. So for me, message me at JackJack1620. You can get more involved in Facebook groups. So there's like, again, Poke Extreme. There's Pokemon Go Aurora. There's my page, Festival Plaza. And again, like I think it's a good time. If you ever heard the term like rebranding, it's not necessary. It's not only for products, but you can do it for yourself. Of like, what do you want to do for you?
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes we forget that we do many things for other people, and we wear a lot of hats. But I think the most important hat that you should be focusing on, as well as your own. What do you want to do for you? And it doesn't have to be something that everyone might agree with. So if your goal, like we're talking about, everyone's like, I want to lose weight, or I want to do this. Like, what's the reason behind it? Is it that you want to get more ass? Is it that you want to look good in a bathing suit? If that's what you want, that's fine to say out loud. Don't be afraid to. If you want a job promotion because you're tired of your parents, use that as your goal. Like, if you're tired of your parents, maybe time to move out. Maybe it's time to, like, make that next step if you're, like, old enough. Like, do what you need to do. And I think it's good just to have that known and have kind of work toward it. And again, you don't have to just have one goal. You can have many. That's fine. Either way, you're going to have to take it a day at a time.
Right on. Well, one last note, real quick. As a Merry Christmas / Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the goodies.
Christmas Kwanzaa. If you're doing Friendsgivings now, have a great Friendsgiving if you're doing that. I know some people that are still.
They do it late? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you get all the food on discount. Like,
that's fair.
The way to fucking go.
Well, shouts to you. We love you guys. And Aurora Masters / Aurora in general will be having scanners up pretty soon. You'll see more about that posted to our Discord and or Facebooks in the near future if you haven't already seen anything. And we're excited to kind of get that on board, and we'll go through everything like that. Outside of that, this is After 8 Hours.
Yep.
Ready to start 2020 off with a bang.
We might have one more podcast before the year is through. We'll see how we feel.
Who knows? There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, end of the year is going to be fucking crazy.
But anyways, love you guys.
Bye.
Fuck off.